Hey y'all, I'm Kaki Higgins, Kaki Higgins Knits, coming to you today from North Carolina in the United States, the southeastern part of the United States, where I live with my spouse, my husband, our 5-year-old daughter, a couple of chickens in the backyard, and a super neurotic dog. And I've been thinking about doing this for a while, vacillating between nobody wants to hear what I have to say about knitting, and then the argument that finally won the day. The world is on fire. I get so demoralized with politics and natural disasters and COVID, the isolation. And over the past couple of years, knitting has been the thing that has brought me a real sense of satisfaction and joy and hope and creation and connection. And I finally decided I'm going to lean into that. All those things are things I want more of in my life. So here we go. Welcome. Glad you're here. I'm going to start with a couple of recently knit finished objects, including what I'm wearing, which is might be the all-time favorite thing that I have ever knit. This is the Leia sweater by Natasha Hornby of Moonstruck Knits, and I love it. It is such a beautiful pattern. There's this really lovely, unfussy color work at the top. In the body, there's this lovely textured pattern with some cables, and then the sleeves. I knit this out of a yarn that I think has been discontinued, but Mrs. Crosby's Hat Box, which is a merino, silk, and cashmere blend. And it's really nice. It's next to skin soft, really, really comfortable. Started to pill just a little bit. We'll see how well it holds up, but I absolutely loved knitting this sweater. The pattern was divinely written. I mean, it was just really well done. And I love wearing it. I love the way it fits. It's just, like I said, I think my favorite thing I've ever knit. The one modification I made was the sleeves. I did just a regular kind of typical tapered sleeve. The pattern calls for a kind of a bubble balloon sleeve, and I just didn't think that would suit me. And I'm happy with this design. So I love it. Highly recommend this pattern. It's just lovely. You can see that nice little bobble. It's elegant. It's interesting, but it's not too fussy. Oh, and let me show you the best part of this. In the back, you see those little buttons? Oh, so sweet. I love it. Okay, number 2, next finished object I want to show you. Last year, I did, first time, the Stephen West Mystery Knit-Along Slip Stravaganza. My sister and I did this together, and I have long been drawn to Stephen West's patterns. I love his bold, interesting textures and what he does with colors. I'd never done one. And my sister and I decided to do this together. And this is, I'm sure you've probably seen this. If you're watching a brand new knitting podcast, I'm sure you've watched others, and you've probably seen this. This is the Slip Stravaganza. I knit this out of Pearl Soho's linen quill. It is a really nice yarn that's wool. It's got some linen. It's got some alpaca. It's really, really lovely to work with. And I've got basically different shades of purple and one sort of off-white. Purple is my favorite color. I don't knit with it a ton, but I love it. And this was a super fun knit. I liked the mystery part of it. The kind of what's going to be next, you know. I would wake up early in the morning super excited to see what the next part of the pattern was going to be. And I thought I'd show this because I am going to do it again. My sister and I are going to knit the next one. I think it's called Shawlography. I've got my yarn and I'm really excited for that to start in a couple of weeks. One more finished object that I'll show you. This was going to be a wrap. Started out as a wrap and then I changed course. I was not having that much fun knitting it. It's a lovely, lovely pattern, but it was not, I kept having to look at the written instructions. I couldn't quite get it in my head well enough for it to be an easy, sort of fast kind of thing. So let me tell you about this. Is the Adventuresome Wrap by Amba O'Brien, or Amba O'Brien. I'm not sure how you say her name, but she's an Australian designer and really does some beautiful wraps and things. And this wrap was designed to use an advent kit. So, you know, lots of little mini skeins. I didn't have an advent kit, but I had a couple of gradient sets that I'd gotten, I want to say from Webs, maybe. Smaller skeins, you know, 5 colors. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to do a sort of a gradient with a one consistent color that marks the border between them? So this is what I came up with. You can see it's different shades of gray, from the lightest here to the darkest. Well, as I said, I got a few repeats of that gradient into it, and I just realized I wasn't having fun. So I decided to bind off, and I made it into a cowl. I am not a cowl person. I've never understood them. I don't really get it. I'd rather have a shawl or something I can wrap around and be a little bit more cozy. But I was ready to be done with this, so I made a cowl. And wow, I kind of like it. So, yeah, I like the way it feels. It feels cozy. The pink, so the gray gradient is, like I said, from Webs. It's a Cloudborne Superwash Merino gradient set. And the pink is from Plucky. I think it's Oxford. It's a merino cashmere blend. And yeah, it's turned out great. I think I'm gonna put this in the gift knits drawer, and you know, we'll see where it goes. Maybe a Christmas present for someone. But I'm actually kind of pleased with how it turned out. Next, I'm going to show you a couple of works in progress. I just finished the knitting. I haven't blocked or woven in any of the ends. This definitely needs a good blocking. A sweater here. This is called the Sheehan? I don't know. It's a Scottish word and I don't know how to say it. But this is by Elizabeth Doherty of Blue Bee Studios. And I love the pattern. It is just, it's beautiful. And you can see there's color work, but it's all slipped stitches. And so you're only working with one color at a time. It's really nice, but I'm gonna tell you, I had to rip back probably 4 times. I just kept making the dumbest mistakes, reading the wrong chart, or you use 2 different needle sizes, and I knit just about the whole yoke. And after I had split for the sleeves, I realized that I had done all of the color work with the smaller needle size. So I ripped back to use bigger one. And I kept saying to myself as I was doing that, it's the process. It's the process. Just trust the process. You want a garment you're going to be happy with. But dang, I'm glad that process is done. So we'll see how it turns out. This yarn was really nice to work with. This is the Croft, which is a Shetland wool. It's a DK weight. So except for all the ripping back, this sweater actually went fairly quickly. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I like the woolly wool, but it's fairly soft. And you know, I'm thinking after a good wash, after a good soak, it'll block up nicely. There are some interesting details in this sweater in addition to the slip stitch pattern. I don't know if you can see this, but this right here, this is the underarm, and there's a gusset. I've never done that before. But I think that's going to really add to the fit of this garment. Yeah, so we'll see where that one goes. And then my other whip that I just cast on is the Aloft shawl. Oops, from this lovely book. Do y'all know this book? There's some great stuff in here, and I was excited. This is the first thing I've cast on from this book. I'll show you the picture. So this is a lace shawl. Let me grab it. I'll show you what I've started. Oh, it kind of matches the wall of this lovely cabin. This is a Walk Collection yarn. It's a single ply superwash merino in the color Squirrel. And I got it on sale from a company that was going out of business. I have mixed feelings about that, but I do love a good sale, especially for really nice, expensive yarn. So yeah, so far it's good. It's I really do have to pay attention to the charts. It is written in charts, but it's kind of starting to click, you know, starting to settle in, and so we'll see where it goes. It's fun to knit, and I think it's really going to be a lovely accessory to wear. So 2 things upcoming that I'll tell you about that I'm excitedly planning for. One is, as I mentioned earlier, the Stephen West shawlography MCAL coming up. So we'll see. I've got my yarn for that. I'll show you that down the road. And the other I am super excited about, I've been eyeing this pattern for years, and I finally bought the yarn for it. It has not arrived yet. I bought it online at another sale. But Junko Okamoto's Elena sweater. Have y'all seen this? Oh my goodness. It is so unusual and beautiful, and it looks like a lot of fun to knit. It's got a kind of a rectangular yoke with some color work in it, and then lots of interesting texture along the sleeves and the rest of the body. And it's knit in a sport weight yarn. So like I said, I've ordered the yarn for that, and I'm super excited to cast on and see where it goes. So if you've made it this far, thank you for dropping in. Drop me a comment, drop me a note. I'd love to know who you are, where you're watching from, what you're working on, and let's build this community of knitters. It's just such a wonderful thing. You know, before COVID, I traveled a lot for work, and everywhere I would go, I would look up yarn shops and go, because number one, it was just really fun to discover new things and new projects and new communities. But I always knew that I could find a friendly face when I was traveling away from my family, that I could go touch some yarns, talk about some knitting, and that's been a really fun tradition. I've got several yarns in my stash that have very clear memories of where I bought them and the circumstances and the trip I was on, and so it's highly recommend that if you travel. So thanks for watching. I'd love to know where you're from, what you're working on, and I'll talk to you again real soon. All right, take care, friends. Bye-bye.